all of us are so chronically worried. We are worried about our health, we are worried about our relationships, we are worried about the housing market, the stock market, the COVID situation, the locust attack. Am I thin? Am I fat? What to eat? What not to eat? Do I have lines on my face? And the list is endless. And these situations have a clear impact on our state of our mind. Every time when the situation does not go the way we wanted it to go, we always blame situations and say it's okay for me to get disturbed. It's very normal. Let me give you an example. If you're stuck in a traffic, if your spouse is not listening to you, if your colleagues are not behaving well with you, you blame the situation and you say the situation was such and people were such. So we are a generation whose vocabulary says that being in anxiety is normal, being disturbed is normal, being worried is normal, competition is normal. And because of this, we create unhappy emotions in our mind which have a trickle effect on our health. So then we develop diseases such as diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol. And then we term these diseases also as normal because everybody around us has it. We were living like this and everything was okay. But suddenly now we are hit with a bigger crisis. A crisis in which not only you, but your family, your organization, and the world at large is saying that fear and anxiety are very normal things of life. A country of 1.3 billion and the population of 7 billion people are now saying that fear and anxiety is normal. So, what is fear? What is anxiety? Let's start a little bit about understanding these terms. Now we feel fear on two accounts. We firstly feel rational fears, and these are the fears, for example, when you're in the middle of a hurricane or a lion is chasing you and you feel fear because you don't know what to do and your mind is giving you signals of protection. The second type of fear that we face are irrational fears, and these are fears in terms of will I do well, fear of rejection, fear of failure, social anxiety, or irrational phobias that we hold. And when we constantly keep thinking about these fears, we then develop worry. Worry is from the thinking part of the brain. So when we are constantly worrying about fears, we think about very bad negative outcomes of life. And now, after that, we develop anxiety. Anxiety is when we do not know what is the future like. We are so tensed about the future and we develop emotional responses such as you feel tension, you dread the situation, you see physiological changes. For example, your palms feel sweaty, your heart beats faster, and you see cognitive changes. For example, that your mind starts to overthink things. You start thinking about negative worst case scenarios. So now we know what are these three elements. Let's start this masterclass today. We're going to start the masterclass with the first element. That is understanding the origin of your worry, fears and phobias. Now, whenever you ask somebody, what do you worry about? The only thing that they'll tell you that yes, I worry about the future. But most times you're also worrying about what has happened to you in the past. And you're also worrying about what is happening to you right now. So worry, in an essence, affects all three timelines of your life: the past, the present, and the future. We worry about the past in terms of dramatic events that have happened in your past. You've lost somebody you love. You made some big loss in your business. You were abused as a child, or you faced a major accident in your life. And all these things make your current situation very stressful and it can scar your present. Now you have imprinted these images in your mind, and now whenever you're faced with a situation, you say that in the past things didn't go the way I imagined them to be, so they are not going to go the same way again in the future. And because of that, you start imagining these bad outcomes based on your past, and you kind of make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. And eventually you end up manifesting that in your life. Now, You also worry about your present. You're constantly worrying about the tasks you have at hand, any unsettling event. You are worrying about the fear of missing out. FOMO is such a big thing right now. You're worrying about social media. Social media is so addictive that research says that we look at our phones 85 times a day. And that's a lot of potential for added stress and an information overload, which leaves us being so envious and dissatisfied with our own lives. And finally, we worry about the future. So we worry about all the situations that we cannot control. We worry about all the diseases that we don't have. We worry about the uncertain future of the people we love. And we really play this horrible image in our mind again and again and again to make it our reality. So, today I want you all to take some time and sit down to identify where most of your worrying comes from. Is it something you hold on from your past? Is it something that you constantly worry about in the present? Or are you constantly in the future? Only when you will be able to understand that will you really be able to address your worries and be able to heal yourself. So, on that note, let's start with our first technique. Our first technique is to conquer fear. We are going to conquer fear, worry, and anxiety with separate techniques. So, I want to ask you all that when is it that you feel fearful? And when you feel fear, how many times do you not take actions into things you really want to do, but the fear is so strong that is holding you back? Now, for example, you want to ask your boss for a raise, but you can't do it. You really love somebody and you want to ask them out, but you're too scared and fearful to do it. You want to quit your job and you want to start a business, but every time you think about this situation, your mind is so reluctant to come out of its comfort zone and it goes into a self-protection mode and you become an excuse generating machine. For example, you'll start thinking in terms of, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, what if I don't manage? No, I'm happy the way I am, I don't need to make any changes. And that happens to us over and over and over again. So many times we do not take action, and the implication of such is that we always feel regret, guilt, and remorse in our life. So, to deal with a situation like this, today we are going to learn the first technique, that is the fear setting technique. Now, this technique is created by the famous author Tim Ferriss, and it's inspired by one of the famous Stoic philosophers who has said that you suffer more in your imagination than in reality. So, what is this technique? This technique is a self-reflection technique which will really help you see your decisions better when fear has really hold on to you so tightly and it's distorted the way you think. This technique can be used in two occasions. The first occasion is probably when you want to take a decision. It may be a personal decision or a business decision, but it's very hard for you to see the situation clearly and take an informed decision. So it can be something in terms of quitting your job, moving to a new place, or starting a relationship. And the second area in which you can use this technique is when you want to do something and you already have decided on it, but you don't feel confident about it. You feel very stressed about your decision. This technique will help you reaffirm your decisions. So let's start this technique. I hope all of you all have a piece of paper in front of you. We need three pieces of paper and a pen. You can write it down and then you can do this technique by yourself at a later time. But take down notes so you can follow along with me. Okay. Now, we'll start with the first page. On the first page, we are going to put our fears under a microscope. So we are really going to take our fears, not shy away from it, Face it, dive in head first. I want you to take a piece of paper and make 4 columns. I want you to, in your first column, write define. In the second column, I want you to write prevent. And in the third column, I want you to write repair. Once we are done with this, I'm going to explain what each of these columns mean. Okay, are we done with the writing? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, now in the first column that is defined, I want to write down every fear that you have which is not letting you take action. For example, write down all the worst case scenarios that you feel that you will face if you take a particular action. What are your worst case scenarios, the worst that can happen if you do a situation? Write down everything. I want to tell you that 90% of the time, most people are so fearful and they live in fear, but they don't define their fears. So they really don't know how overblown their fears are. And this column will really help you understand that. So, giving you my example, I have been wanting to start the Genius Code since almost a year. But I've been so fearful. And my biggest fears were, what if I fail? This requires a lot of social media marketing and I'm really bad at that. I don't know how to do it. What if I don't get the right audience? What if I can't tap into the right audience? What if my webinars are so bad that people laugh at me? And what if I'm not good enough? These fears always scared me from taking the right action. And I always postponed my decision to not taking that action. So write down each and every fear that you can have. Whatever your fear is, put it all down in the first column. Every fear of taking that action. Right. Now that you are done with this, we will go into the next column. The next column is the prevent column. Now in this column, I want you to write down everything that you can do to prevent the worst case scenario from happening. Now what we've done is we know that we have to take an action. These are the fears that we have. But what is the worst case scenario? And now that we know this is the worst case scenario, what is it that we need to do to take action that the worst case scenario doesn't happen? Now, for example, again coming back to my case. Now, if I'm so worried that social media marketing is not some skill that I possess. So what can I do? I can go and take a class into social media marketing. For example, that I feel that this industry is very alien and new to me. I don't understand it. So then I can work with coaches and mentors who can really help me to understand my way into this field. If I realize that maybe if I'm not a good speaker, I can go take a public speaking class to really up my speaking skills and be a good orator. Doing all these tasks will really help to prevent my worst case scenarios from happening. Now, after that, I want you to then finally come to the repair column. In the repair column, I want you to imagine that if the worst case scenario actually happens, if the worst case scenario was to happen in your life, what is it that you would do to get yourself back into action? What are the steps you would take to bounce back in life? Now, for example, if my webinar or if my venture was really to fail, what is it that I could do? I could fall back onto my finance background. I have a great degree in finance. I could go get a job into the finance, to go and get a job in any finance company. I could work hard and work on my skills, take a break, learn and get back to this. So what actions could I take from if actually the Genius Code did not have to work? Right. Now, if you do this and if you put 3 columns and put your worries into this column, you will realize that by doing this, you are actually seeing the worst case scenario. And by seeing that, you realize that sometimes the worst case scenarios are not so bad. After we've done with this, I want you to go to the next page. In the next page, I want you to write down what are the benefits of actually doing this. What are the benefits of taking action? So for example, today if I take action and I make the Genius Code a success, what is it that I will face? For example, I will network it with a lot more people. I'll be an entrepreneur where I'm running my own business. I will learn a lot more new skills. I will work with some great people and enhance my skills. I'll truly be living out of my passion and living my purpose. And I'll have flexible timings to do my work whenever I want. So there are so many pluses for me to actually go about and doing this venture. Then, once we have realized that what are the benefits of doing this, we will go to the last step. The last step is page 3. This is the most important thing to do in any decision making, but people always forget that. The next slide is basically everything that you will feel in terms of consequences of emotional, financial, physical consequences of not taking action. For example, if I really wanted to start the Genius Code, but my fear got the better of me and I could never take that action, what is it that I would feel? Would I feel remorse? Would I feel unhappy? What is it that I would feel? I would not be financially independent. I would not be able to call myself an entrepreneur. Maybe I would not find a better time for myself in doing this, because the lockdown is the best time where you can actually put your skills to use. And by doing this, you will realize that not taking the action is actually not the best decision. So I want to tell you one thing. This exercise, if you do this on a regular basis for every single thing that you fear taking action about, you will realize that your worst case scenarios are actually not so bad. It's really not, you overblow most of the scenarios and cases in your mind. And most of the times our fears stem from our refusal to face our fears. And this exercise will actually show you in ways in which you can really overcome your worst case scenario and deal with it. 90% of the times when people see this, they realize that their worries are not too much and they'll feel calm again. For example, that you were in a very bad financial stock investment and you always felt very fearful that every time you saw money control or you saw the markets and you would panic saying my stocks are down 10%, 20%, 30%. But then once you actually realize and come to terms with, okay, I might lose all my money, but I'm alive, I have my family, I can make money again, I have a job, I will remake savings. Suddenly all that stress and anxiety goes away. And you suddenly start feeling a lot more relaxed and calm. And that in turn helps you make peace with the situation and accept the situation. So I hope you all have understood this technique. It's a very famous technique by the author Tim Ferriss. And if you have any doubts with this technique, we can take it later in the questions. But I hope this technique is clear with you all. We are going to move on to the next technique. Now you all have kind of understood and learned how to deal with fears in a more realistic way. Now in the next technique, I want to talk to you about fears of the future. Now most of the times, we are always worried and we are always thinking about the future. We get so stuck in this fear trap that we can't get ourselves out of it. And to deal with that situation, and this is a very pressing problem in today's time, where most of the times we're constantly living in the future and not in the present. I want you to now understand the second technique. The second technique is called back to the present. Now this is a 3-step technique, and this is something that you all should do at every point in your life. In the first part of this technique, we need to become aware. So many times we would find ourselves thinking that I'm feeling horrible. Something horrible is happening to me. Sometimes you start the television and you see some news to do with COVID. Then you go into a thought process saying, okay, so the situation is so bad, what will happen to me? Can I start my office again? When will I go back to work? Will I have adequate sales? What will happen to me if somebody was to get COVID in my family? Will I have enough money to pay for everybody? Will I have enough financial resources to pay my rent? Will I be able to pay my EMIs? Our mind goes into a whirlpool of negative thoughts. We overthink and think and think like a domino effect. The thought starts at one area of your mind and it engulfs every other area of your mind. But I want to tell you one thing. Your mind does not know the difference between what is real and what you imagine. For example, now that you're thinking about these situations, your brain really perceives a lot of threat because your brain thinks that these things are actually happening to you. So your brain will start producing stress releasing hormones like the cortisol and adrenaline. Now these are fight or flight hormones. So many times you would be thinking that when you're sitting just in your chair and thinking about a lot of things, your palms get sweaty. You feel something in the pit of your stomach. Your heart starts beating faster. When you have emotions like this, you start producing these hormones. And because of that, you feel a physiological change in your body. Now take this example. Today, just 2 hours back, we heard the most shocking news to hear about the whole suicide of Sushant Singh Rajput. That has, I think, taken everybody by surprise. And most times when you think about this trap, when you get into a future trap, thinking about what is the worst thing that can happen and you don't become aware, that anxiety can turn into chronic depression, after which you start feeling suicidal. So the first step of this is become aware. Every time you feel you are worrying, get your mind to become aware that I am getting into this zone. After you do that, I want you to do the second step. The second step is called the realization step. Now, once you have become aware and stopped yourself from getting into that cycle, you then need to realize that whatever you are thinking about is about the future. It's not about the present. And because it's not about the present, it cannot harm you right now. Right now, you are sitting in your house under one roof. You have food to eat, your current finances are okay, your family is with you, you're healthy, you're fine, and you will realize that this is just a part or a figment of your imagination, and this is not your reality. And when you realize that, you will feel a lot more calm. And when you realize that, we will go to the last step. And the last step is called the back to the present. In this step, you have now realized that the future cannot harm you. You are currently safe. So all you need to do is come back to the present. And you are going to do that by two ways. One, by giving yourself positive self-talks. For example, tell yourself that this is not a life-changing situation. I've dealt with this before. This too shall pass. I've done it before and I can do it again. Talk to yourself and get yourself out of this trap. And if you feel that you still can't wrap your mind around it, do something else. Do things you love. Go for a walk. Talk to your friends. Meet your friends. Meditate. Do everything that will keep you more aligned to your present. And by doing this on a regular basis, by being mindful of all your thoughts and stopping it at the point it turns into worry, you will realize that you are a lot more worry-free, stress-free, anxiety-free. And living in the present is the only reality. And everything else is just a figment of your imagination. So I really want you guys to practice this technique on a regular basis. Make it a habit. Make it something that is a part of your life, and you will eventually condition your mind to stop it from getting stuck into the anxiety of the future trap. Like I told you, that anxiety, fear, and worry can arise out of three timelines of your life: the past, present, and the future. And most times, people are so stuck in their past that they can't get themselves out of it. And now we will use one technique to get ourselves out of our past to accept our current realities. This technique is called change the story. This technique is a two-step technique. The first part of the technique is called identifying your story. All of us are storytellers. We keep telling ourselves stories all the time based on our belief system. Now, for example, in the past, you had a very bad loss in your business. So you'll keep telling yourself, no, this is not for me. I don't think I can do this. If somebody very close to you left you, you will start to believe that maybe I shouldn't get too attached to anybody else. They'll all leave me because it's happened to me in the past. For example, you get laid off of your job or your employer fires you. You'll again start to think that maybe I'm not good enough and employment is something that will really scare me. So you'll always be scared to get into employment and go for interviews again. We have imprint these situations in our mind in such a strong way that they scar our current reality. Our beliefs become so strong that it really defines what we can and cannot do today. And most of our fears and anxieties of the past come out of guilt, of loss, of regret. Things that we didn't do, things that didn't go our way, or losses that we felt. Most people who have major issues in their past operate out of these beliefs, and everything they do in their future is only defined by that. But if you truly want to come out of this situation, and if you want to truly change the way you really live your life, you need to then follow step 2. Step 1 was you identified your story. You identify that how is it that you view your life. In step 2, we are going to change the story. Tell yourself positive things. Change the story to a way you will benefit out of it. Let me give you an example. Let's talk about this guy who lost everything in a big business loss. Not only did he lose his money, his savings, he lost his confidence and his self-esteem. Now, every time you speak to this guy, he's only talking about how he's been a failure, how life has no meaning for him, how he's lost everything and he has nothing in life. But if he operates out of this, his future too is going to be a failure. But if you change the story, for example, you tell yourself that yes, I made mistakes in the past, but I have learned from them. So today, I know how to take better business decisions. I know how to handle my finances better. Now, every time a situation like this arises, I know how to deal with it. When you change your story, you changed your mindset. Earlier, you were only talking about the sad part of that story. And by doing that, you were reliving that same experience over and over and over again. And you were feeling that same level of anxiety and stress. Now, all of a sudden, that same story makes you feel positive. Look at what you've learned. Look at what you've achieved out of it. And see how that situation has helped you grow. When you do that, you realize that you'll be able to come to terms with that tragedy of life. And by coming to terms with that tragedy, you'll be able to overcome it faster. So many times you would have heard that when people go through tragedies or big irreversible situations, they call them those rock bottoms on which they built their life on. The lessons learned, they are the reason for the people they have become today. And I am a true example of that. building my life out of tragedy, changing my story, and being who I am today. And doing that will truly, truly, truly help you come out of the negative trap, stop seeing yourself with your limiting beliefs and self-pity, and you will be charged and happy to bounce back, accept the present for what it is, and make the future the way you want it to be. So now, we have learned 3 techniques. The first one was to face your fears. The second technique showed us how to deal with the future anxieties. The third technique now showed us how to deal with the past. But even after these 3 techniques, there are still people. And such people are people who love to worry. They are obsessed with worrying. They worry all the time about the past, about the present, about the future. Worrying has become a habit and a way of life for them. And if you identify yourself as one of those, there is one last technique, and this is my personal favorite technique. This technique is called the worry chair technique. In the worry chair technique, all you need is one chair in one corner of your house, and you need a notebook. Now, let me tell you how this works. Every time you feel you are worried or you are in a situation of worry, take that chair, give yourself 15 minutes and do it at the same time of the day. Say for example 10 o'clock every morning, you will sit on your chair, the same chair, and you will worry about everything that is stressing you out. Whatever it is, whatever your worry is, whatever is stressing you out, take a notebook, write the date. That day, I want you to write down all your worries. Next to your worries, make a list of all the possibilities of mitigating or helping you solve that worry. What are the ways in which you can overcome that worry? So, every time you sit on your chair, 15 minutes every day, write in your book your worry, your ways of dealing with the worry, and you will realize soon that your mind associates worry only with the worry chair, and it associates all the other activities you do with the absence of worry. You know why this happens? This is a case of classical conditioning. Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov, the famous Russian scientist? He did one experiment with his dog. He used to give his dog food every day at 12 o'clock. And every time he would give his dog food, his dog would salivate. He did that for a couple of days. Then he started ringing a bell and giving the dog the food at the same time. And the dog would still salivate. He did that for a couple of days. And after a few days, he went with the dog and at 12 o'clock only rang the bell and did not give the dog any food. But the dog was still salivating. Why? Because the dog had now learned to condition his mind with the sound of the bell and associated the sound of the bell with his hunger. And the worry chair will help you to do the same thing. If you're a constant worrier and you worry all throughout the day, now you will worry only at the time you sit on your chair, and the remaining time of your life will be completely free of worry. So, I would like to end this seminar by putting one thought in your mind, and it's a really beautiful quote by Winston Churchill. And he said that most times when he worries, he thinks about this one old man on his deathbed. And this guy had said that I had a lot of worries and troubles in my life, but most of them never. I really hope that you all have found some value in this webinar, and for all those who wish to take up these exercises on a personal basis, we can do that too. And 90% of the people who go for these self-help webinars never put anything into action. Maybe because they can't do anything alone. And if you identify yourself as one of those, you can put your name in the comment section and we can put you into groups where you can get a support group, where you can contact people. We can have things, where we can do things in a way where you're constantly focused. So thank you all, and thank you everybody for being part of this webinar and spending this 1 hour on this Sunday evening. And also I need to thank all my friends and family for all the support that they've showered. And now, so on the screen are details. If you wish to contact me and you want to ask me questions later, you can take down the details and we can connect one-on-one at a later time.